Welcome to This Is Reviewable. For those of you that are in the know, that's an Easter egg and a hint that we're going to be reviewing Smiling Friends Season 2 today, baby. Right, Micah?
Mm-hmm.
Alright, let's not waste any time. Let's not mince any words. Let's not any spiders.
What?
Did you know that that's a Australian saying, apparently?
For what?
We're not here to mess around.
Oh my gosh.
They say we're not here to spiders.
That's so aggressive.
I know, but it's kind of funny, huh? Okay, good. Why don't you kick us off? What is Smiling Friends?
Okay. So, if you've ever seen or heard of Rick and Morty, it's very dark, dry humor, right?
Yeah, existential,
Yeah.
sci-fi.
Smiling Friends is if Rick and Morty was on crack or crystal meth.
Yeah.
Are we allowed to say that?
Yeah, probably.
It's just cracked out. And I was telling Brayden this last night. Like, this show, like, while we were watching it, there were some episodes, they're like 10-minute episodes. You really could watch the whole season in one sitting, and I think season 1 we did do that.
Yeah, we did.
But some of them are so much that I'm like, I can only watch one today. Like, we need to do something else.
The full season is a lethal dose.
It's 8 episodes, and some of it I actively did not enjoy while we were watching it, but now that it's been a week or whatever it's been, we're like constantly quoting it, and now it's funny. But while we were watching it, I did not have that fun of a time.
Yeah.
Is that a good way to describe it?
Yeah, for you. For you.
Okay.
It was made by a couple of people that have been doing YouTube videos forever and ever. And if any of you have seen the Bushworld Rick and Morty adventure, the one where it's the YouTuber created like an Australian version of Rick and Morty, it's the most unhinged, like aggressively stereotypical Australian thing you'll ever see. Super just whacked out and kind of disturbing, but it's really funny. That guy is one of the main guys that created this show, and he voices Pim. So I think that this show, it feels like a YouTube video, a bunch of YouTube videos.
Yeah.
But in it's on network television now.
Is it on HBO?
It's on Adult Swim.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I think it's really funny. I thoroughly enjoyed it the whole time.
Okay, do you want to go through some of the episodes or just say what you liked about it?
I mean, okay, so the humor is, if you've spent any time on YouTube, especially like kind of in the, I guess, earlier days of YouTube where people used to make a lot of these kind of just...
Like Annoying Orange?
Not quite like that. Just like a lot of random, like, mixed forms of animation. Sort of off-putting on purpose.
Don't you just kind of miss the early days of YouTube?
Yeah.
Sometimes. I mean, it was so annoying. Like, Annoying Orange.
Yeah.
Was so stupid, but it was just a simpler time.
Yeah.
People actually were consuming the same content.
Yeah. But, like, this is very much a throwback to that style of YouTube video. There are episodes where I feel like they mix every single kind of animation possible that exists. There's the style that Smiling Friends has, which is like a hand-drawn, and it looks a little bit like Rick and Morty. That's like the standard, the basic package of Smiling Friends. But then they'll bring in like claymation characters into the episode. There will be real life characters in the episode.
Yeah, it's like a real human.
Yeah, there's one where they bring in this like PS2 or PS1 era low polygon video game character, and he's in the episode and he's animated within his animation style.
Who was that guy? The brother that you said was a YouTuber? What animation is his?
Yeah, he does this rotoscoping animation
because it's almost like
he's able to like capture his motion,
and just it was inputted into animation or something. Right.
Joel Haver, that's his name. Yeah, so he makes a guest appearance, Joel Haver. So you get the Joel Haver animation fix that I know you're all craving. It's just so...
There's a lot going on.
And then that episode where they go to that, like, the land where they're not supposed to look at anybody in the eye.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like the most...
There's no rules.
It's so hard to describe.
Yeah.
But it's very... It has its identity. It's very visually stimulating.
It's like in Into the Spider-Verse,
mm-hmm.
when the cartoon world comes into the real world or whatever. Or the...
It's all glitchy.
Yeah, that's what that world was like.
Yeah. So funny.
Like all the prisms and the different colors and all of that.
Yeah.
There is a lot of language in this, and there can be violence. It is cartoon, and so...
But it's mature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is not a kid's show.
It definitely is. But, like, some of the situations that they come up with are so freaking funny, and I... Like, some of this is going to be throwback to season 1, but just to give you an idea, like, season 2 is as good as season 1. I'll just say that. Like, they're the same to me.
Yeah.
To give you an idea of, like, a scenario that they come up with for some of these episodes, there's an episode where it's Halloween, and the boss is like...
Oh, wait, Smiling Friends is like a business where they try and make people smile.
Yeah.
That's what it is, sorry.
Yeah, so you've got Charlie and Pim, who are the main characters. Pim is the little purple Australian guy, and Charlie is the yellow dude. And there's the boss as well. There's a couple other characters, but the boss is like, oh man, it's not Halloween without a Halloween bonfire. I wish someone could go and get some firewood. And then Pim volunteers to go get firewood. So he has to cross the street and go into the forest to pick up some sticks. The boss tells him not to cross the rickety bridge because he'll get lost.
Is this season 1?
This is in season 1.
Oh, okay. I was like, I don't remember this.
Pim can't find any firewood on the correct side of the rickety bridge, so he crosses it, and then he gets chased by this forest demon, and he gets chased all the way back to the Smiling Friends building, and then, like, they burst into the room, and then the demon is like... And everybody just looks at him and he's like,
dude, sick costume.
Dude, is that blackface? That better not be freaking blackface. And then everybody at the party beats the demon to death. And then they burn him alive.
Oh my gosh.
That's how the episode ends. So that's the sort of scenario. A demon walks into a room and he gets beat to death because it looks like he's doing blackface, even though he's a demon.
The episode that we've been laughing at the most, there's an episode in season 2 where, like, in the alley behind Smiling Friends, like, the snow is melting and so they build one last snowman.
Yeah.
And it has, like, yellow snow in it.
It's the grossest snowman ever.
It's disgusting. They have a broken bottle as an arm.
And it looks like a real model that they made.
Yeah, like claymation or something. And Pim comes out to this snowman being built, and he's like, oh, I want to help. So he picks a flower off the ground, and he sticks it on there, and the snowman comes to life.
Yeah.
Because the flower was grown in nuclear waste.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then Pim accidentally tells the snowman what death is, so then the snowman won't stop screaming. Like, for days, he's just screaming. So they bring him up to the top of a mountain and they leave him there.
So he won't die. Because that's what they're concerned. It's like, oh, maybe if we take him to the top of this mountain and explain to him, like, there's snow everywhere, there's ice everywhere, you're not going to melt, you're never going to die now. But he won't listen. And Charlie's like, all right, Pim, let's get the out of here. They just leave him on the top of the mountain.
And then sometime later, the abominable snowman.
Yeah, this Yeti thing.
Yeah, shows up and he's like, is this your guys' snowman? Okay, well, that was my mountain. Did you know that was my mountain? And they were like...
He's been going nuts.
Yeah, just these hand gestures that he uses is so
freaked out my wife, he freaked out my kids. I had to take the day off work to come here.
Yeah.
If I see you guys again, I'm beating your ass.
Hard.
It's very, very quotable after you've watched it. Yeah, I don't know. I really, really enjoyed this. I don't think that there's much depth per se to the story, to the stories that they're telling. But it can be like pretty wholesome sometimes. You know, I feel like it always ends on a positive note in some way. Like
Yeah.
like they're all saying how much they love each other at the end. The very end of the season is just like that. Charlie is like, wow, I love my friends and I love my job and I love my God and I love my country. And then like jets fly over. It ends on a wholesome note, but it's like it's sarcastic but not in a mean way. It's just very, I don't know. It's worth watching, I would say. I also think that they nail these like banal conversations that they have with each other. Do you want to talk about the episode where they go to Brazil?
Oh, so that's actually the end of season 1.
Yeah.
I think they released like a bonus episode that we missed or something, so it's episode 9. And they get to Brazil. They're going on this French trip. And when they get there, they realize nobody has booked the hotel.
Right.
And they're all blaming it on Pim, even though throughout the conversation it comes out that Pim booked the flights.
Pim did everything.
Pim did everything except book the hotel, and everybody's blaming him.
But the whole episode is just them in the airport trying to figure out what they're gonna do.
Because it's like Mardi Gras or some big festival, and so all the hotels are booked.
And the conversations that they have, it sounds like just how that would go.
Yeah.
You know, they're arguing, they're like talking over each other.
I don't want to blame you, Pim.
And then they're like backpedaling. They're like, okay, I'm not mad. We're not mad at you. We just need to figure this out.
After they just spent the last 2.5 minutes just getting so mad at Pim.
And it's the most like uncomfortable but at the same time hilarious episode of the show. And at the end, they just fly home.
Yeah,
they can't figure out where to stay.
Which is so stupid, in my opinion.
Yeah. So I think, like, despite how stupid this may sound, I think that there is a lot of, like, wit and like the writing is smart. The writing it feels natural and it feels real and it's really funny and it's really quotable, even though you might watch an episode and be like, that's stupid, that's dumb.
But then you stew on it.
It's definitely, like, it is those things. I feel like it's fast food, but it's nutritional value fast food.
Oh, it is.
Yeah. I still think it's quality.
Okay.
That's how I feel about it.
All right. You want to rate it?
We're just rating season 2.
Yeah.
I mean, this is probably one of my favorite current shows, honestly. It's just hilarious. How can I not love it? Fix the stuffy.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 9 probably.
Holy shit! What?
Yeah. I really like Smiling Friends, Micah. I think it's super funny, super quotable. Remember the part where the freaking boss is having a dispute with the devil over property lines in hell? Yeah, there's so many funny lines and memorable scenes and memorable situations. I'm a big fan of this show, so I'm going to give it a 9. I'm going to give it a 9, spraying him with the dirty brown water out of 10.
Okay, so like I said, I didn't enjoy this very much while we were watching it. Mm-hmm. So while we were watching it, I think I'm going to rate it a 6.5. A 6.5 nuclear waste. Actually, scratch that. A 6.5.
Okay, but what's your real score?
No, nuclear rocket boots. Is that what they were called?
Yeah.
Okay, and then after stewing on it, I think I'll rate this a 7.75.
Okay. What? He's been going nuts.
What's the son's name?
Oh, Jason.
Yeah. My 18-year-old son, Jason.
My beautiful son, Jason.
Yeah.
The boss's manifesto.
Okay. Are we moving on?
Yeah.
Okay, so I finally am ready to talk about that book series, the
Throne of Ass.
Yeah, Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas.
Okay, continue.
Okay.
Begin. You know what I'm referencing?
Mm-mm. You're gonna tell me?
Harry Potter.
What?
It's when Voldemort tells them to start attacking Hogwarts. And he's like,
Are you kidding me?
begin.
Are you kidding? Do you remember one time when I was like, thanks? And I was like,
The snake?
I was like, who am I quoting? You're like, obviously the snake.
Everybody knows that one, though. That one's easy.
Yeah, but just randomly, if someone said that to you,
Well, you have to do the hiss at the end, but yeah.
would you just, thanks?
Yeah, I would still think that by default, I think.
Okay, I was trying to hype you up and you just made me feel like an idiot. Thanks.
What do you mean?
I was trying to give you cred.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. So the Throne of Glass series is made up of 7 books, and I added up how long the series is when I listened to it, and it's over 145 hours.
I will not be reading that.
Which I finished in a month?
Okay.
5 weeks, maybe?
It's pretty good.
I want to say it was a month, but I could be between 4 and 5 weeks. And so the first book of this series is about this assassin, Selena Sardothien. And she is in this super high security prison, and the crown prince comes and takes her out of it because the king of the realm or whatever wants a champion. And so all the lords in the court are supposed to bring a contender, and they're all supposed to battle it out to become the king's champion, which is basically just the king's heavy, whatever.
The king's heavy?
Yeah, like his muscle, like his assassin or his weapon. I don't know.
Okay, yeah.
And so the first book is about that. And I will say this book series does a really good job of giving you information when you're ready for it. Because in the first book, we find out a pretty big, like at the end, a pretty big secret that is important for the rest of the series, but they don't tell it to you until either the end of the first book or the beginning of the second book. And I was really impressed with that aspect because they never hinted at it because it wasn't important to the story that was being told right then. Mm-hmm. But later on it was important, and it didn't, and the way that they told it made sense. So the rest of this is going to contain spoilers because this is a huge series and I read so many books and all of it. So that's what the first book is about. I will say there's not a ton of language. They do swear every once in a while. And as the book goes on, as the series goes on, there is more sex, but even compared to some of Sarah J. Maas's other books, it's not that bad. And it's not very graphic, I would say, because there is a lot of fighting and battles and stuff like that. I would say it's not super graphic. So again, spoilers going forward. So it turns out that Selena Sardothien is a princess of another area that the king had taken over when she was a kid. And she had so much self-hate from... She was 8 years old when her parents were killed and her kingdom was taken over, and she had so much self-hate of not being able to do anything that for the next 10 years she just was an assassin and did whatever she was told and just tried to forget that she was a princess and that her people were enslaved, basically. And going forward, she has to deal with those feelings, and some of her friends have died, and she has to deal with the grief of that.
Did she not know that she was a princess?
She did.
Okay.
But she was trying to forget.
Oh.
She was trying to be Selena. And she has to come to terms with a lot of her past and more recent past of her friends dying, and like I said. And I feel like they did a really good job of that. And I feel like this author does a really good job of that because there's so many books that I've read where a super traumatic thing will happen to them. And then in the next book, they're with their romantic partner, and they're totally fine, and they never think about it, which is not realistic, I feel like. The thing that I said that I really liked about them not telling us things until we're ready for it, it does get a little out of hand in like books, I don't know, 4 through 6 or something like that, where there's moments where you're like, that was stupid. Like, there's no way that that could have been orchestrated months ahead for everybody to show up at the same time, and Selena didn't tell anybody. Just taking the I'll only tell you when you're ready for it too far.
Oh, yeah. I call this the Pirates of the Caribbean 3 effect.
Just what I said.
Yeah. Just that idea of like introducing rules and introducing, things that change everything.
Right.
It's a Deus Ex Machina type trope.
But it was like Selena is trying to raise an army, and nobody will come to her aid. And then she gets captured, and apparently months before she had written to all these people that owe her favors, and right after she gets captured, they all show up.
Yeah, it's literally Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah. They're like, that doesn't make any sense.
The reason I call it the Pirates of the Caribbean 3 effect is because they, in Pirates of the Caribbean 2, Davy Jones is the bad guy, right? Mm-hmm. And they have to stab his heart to kill him. But then in Pirates of the Caribbean 3, they're like, oh, by the way, if you stab his heart, you actually have to become him too. Yeah. And I'm like, what? Could you not have made that, clear in the second movie? Yeah. You're adding an artificial set of stakes. I guess it makes sense. Like, if he's the ferryman for the dead, then there needs to always be someone doing that job. But also he hasn't. You could have said that. And he also hasn't been doing that job for years, and the world seems to spin. Yeah. Like, it's a contrivance, and that's why I call it that. So you had a Pirates of the Caribbean 3 moment with this series.
And it just seemed to happen too many times with things that were too absurd.
Gotcha.
Which kind of bugged me. But then, like, book 7, that's just a theme throughout the whole books, is that's what happens. And some of it, like us not knowing that she was a princess for the whole first book, made sense. Yeah. Because she was running away from it. Uh-huh. And then stuff like that happened in book 7, and again, those things actually made sense. And the series ended really, I liked the way that it ended. It wasn't all happy. It was happy, sad, and overall I did like this series. There were, people probably talk about like the ACOTAR series versus this series, and there were things that I really like about this series more than the other series, and things that I liked about ACOTAR more than I liked about this series. So I think that they're pretty comparable to each other, and it's definitely worth reading. And you don't have to read all 7 books in a month, because that's crazy.
But I feel like you're reading all these popular fantasy series, but you're shirking the big Chungus ones.
What, like Lord of the Rings?
No, not like.
I read Lord of the Rings.
No, I'm talking about like the modern ones, like the.
Like what?
Like the Game of Thrones series.
Isn't that super violent? And
I don't know. I don't know. Oh. I haven't read them. But you should.
But it's also
you're reading all these fantasy series.
It's also super overwhelming when they're this long. I didn't know that it was this long.
And you haven't read the Brandon Sanderson ones either. That's the other big one. Okay.
Like the Way of Kings one, I tried, and it was too in depth. It bugged me.
Or The Witcher.
You read that. I don't need to read it.
Yeah, you should though. You seem to be into fantasy.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna rate this series an 8.5.
Pretty good. Deus Ex Serenas.
Selena's.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll rate it that.
Okay.
Out of 10.
All right.
What did I say? 7.5 or 8?
8.5.
Oh, 8.5.
Yeah, you gave it an 8.5.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I'll rate it that.
Are you dropping it?
Maybe an 8.25.
Wow. All right. That's all we have for this week, isn't it?
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't have anything separate.
You don't have anything?
I don't think so. I've been working hard on
Oh, that's true. Everybody, today is Braden's birthday. Yesterday was Braden's birthday.
Oh, I see what you're doing. Now everybody knows.
So tell Braden happy birthday. Happy birthday to you.
Me.
It was my niece's birthday recently, and I got sent a video of them singing her happy birthday.
And she's 2?
She turned 2, and so they would go, happy birthday to you, and she'd go,
Me.
happy birthday to you.
Me.
Happy birthday to Glennie.
Me.
Happy birthday to you.
And her timing was always perfect.
Perfect. Right when everybody was quiet.
Well, she was waiting so that she could... Me.
It was so funny.
Yeah.
So we've been quoting that recently.
Yeah. But we've been working on some special videos the last like 3 or 4 weeks. These are...
Yeah, Bren's been obsessed.
Yeah, these are much more... I've put a lot more time into these.
The one that Braden finished the other night, I literally cried at the end of it.
Oh, it's such a good...
Like, I don't mean, like, my eyes were, like, tearing up. Like, tears were falling out of my face.
But it's also because of the movie that I was talking about. That was the main reason. But
still,
it's... Yeah. I did one on Moneyball. Go check that out. Micah is doing one that should be done in the next week or so.
You're putting a time limit on it.
Well, it probably will, right?
I don't know. I mean, it's already been a month and a half.
My word. And then I've also got one that'll be done in, like, probably today, but I just don't know when it's coming, when I'm going to release it. You got to space them out. You got to keep them separated. Right, Micah?
Yeah.
So that's why there's, we watched less stuff this week, but we'll get back on the wagon, right?
Yeah.
With House of the Dragon, we're still churning our way through that.
Yeah, we still got a ways, though.
Yeah. Got a couple of movies that we want to check out as well. That's for me to know.
Okay. Well, have a great week, everybody. Bye.